Yeah, and look, there's no denying that look, Airbnb fills a gap, one that perhaps isn't served or hasn't been traditionally served very well by hotels. Airbnb would say that the predominance of people staying in their properties has a hugely positive effect on tourism and the local economy. In fact, they cite those benefits in the tens of billions of pounds across the UK. This actually, though, Mark, is not just something that affects Edinburgh. So the Scottish government, the SNP-led Scottish government, introduced fairly recently short-term let legislation, which now provides that all local authorities in Scotland are actually able to oversee Airbnb hosts, Airbnb landlords, by way of licensing. Now, my question would be, well, what's that going to achieve? Because actually, when you read a bit of the legislation, what it doesn't say is that there are particular barriers to entry in terms of the type of property or indeed the type of host. So it doesn't look as though this is actually going to control volume. What I would venture is that this is the Scottish government and a lot of Scottish councils, including Labour-controlled Edinburgh Council, that are simply jumping on the bandwagon. This becomes a monetisation exercise. And the reason I say that is because prescribed within the legislation is that each of these hosts, no matter how often they let their property, so they might only let it for a week of the year at a minimal cost, each host will have to pay a licence fee of up to £436 to the local authority. And get this, it gets worse. Each council has up to 12 months, so it's a whole year, to actually grant the licence. What on earth are those hosts, some of them relying on this money for their own cost of living mitigation? What hope have they got to be able to let a property if it's going to cost that sort of money and it's going to take that amount of time for the bureaucrats to get their acts together? I think it's a crazy scheme.